like to add my voice to the Hakaras Hatov, which is given here tonight, not just on behalf of Klal Yisrael and all of the wonderful contributions that Shapell Darche Noam has made, but I must say that my own Kehillah in Ramat Beit Shemesh has been founded by Shapell students, and they are definitely, till this day, the pillars of our community, quite often the pillars of Ramat Beit Shemesh, and I really thank you. It's a very, very beautiful thing. And over the years, I've developed a love, a respect, an affinity with this yeshiva. Keeps on coming up in my life. So it was so beautiful to me. I was hoping that it wasn't just in my head. I was hoping there was a relationship here. It's actually very beautiful to me when Rabbi Karlinsky called me just a few days ago to tell me that Baruch Hashem, the chief rabbi, can't make it. and he asked me if I can speak this evening. As I walked in, I heard many, many comments about the largeness of his shoes and the smallness of my feet, and how these are very difficult shoes to fill. I'll do the best we can. Pershus the Rosh Yeshiva, the Rabbonim, the very, very well-chosen guests of honors, Bruchim Atem LaHashem. I'd like to begin my remarks with a story that was told to me by my great Rabbi, Rav Chaim Pinchas Scheinberg, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. He told the story at a Hanukkah Masiba probably 40 years ago. And he said that when he decided to leave the United States and move to Eretz Yisrael and bring his yeshiva to Eretz Yisrael, they had a small yeshiva in Bensonhurst at that time. They made a bit of a Tzeichem L'Sholom for him and for the yeshiva, and Rav Moshe Feinstein Zatzal came to this Tzeichem L'Sholom, and Rav Moshe stood up to speak, and everybody who has heard or has ever spoken to Rav Moshe knows that he was in fact the Anav Mikol Adam, but he came with a bit of a taina. Like here, we're trying to build America, we're trying to build New York, the United States, we're trying to create yeshivas. It was a very tenuous time just then in the development of the yeshiva world of America, which has, Baruch Hashem, become a great Makom Torah. They said, why are you leaving? Why are you going to Eretz Yisrael? And the Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Scheinberg, said the following. He said it there at that Masiba. He said it to us a number of years later, and I'll share it with you. He said that as he walks around the streets of Bensonhurst, the Lower East Side where he lived, different places in New York and in the United States, he sees things that he doesn't like to see. He sees a lot of crime. He sees a lot of promiscuity. He sees a lot of dishonesty. He sees a type of behavior which he says to himself, I really don't want to live here. What am I doing here? So he explained that he went to visit Eretz Yisrael. This was, I think, in 1961 or 1962. Came to visit Eretz Yisrael, and of course he saw all the beautiful things of Eretz Yisrael. But to his shock, he saw crime, he saw promiscuity, he noticed some dishonesty. He said, but there was a difference. Because when I walked the streets of New York, he said, I asked myself, what am I doing here? But when I walked the streets of Yerushalayim, I asked myself, what are they doing here? And that's why he moved. What I'd like to talk about here for a few minutes is, what are we doing here? Most of us, as I've heard, most of us in the room have somewhere over the last 36 years made a life-altering decision to move to Eretz Yisrael. This is a difficult decision. Moving to Eretz Yisrael is difficult for almost everybody. It means a lifestyle change. It means leaving one's friends, one's family, often one's parnasa. You leave a lot behind, and it's a gut-wrenching decision. Most of us in the room have made even a more fundamental decision, and that is to embrace the Darche Torah, the Darche of Avodas Hashem, and to join our people in becoming the Mamleches Kohanim V'Goy Kodesh, and doing it in Eretz Yisrael. Two very gut-wrenching decisions that almost all of us have made. Why did we make those decisions? Why did you make those decisions? I'm going to guess that probably most people looked at Eretz Yisrael and looked at their lives and looked at Yiddishkeit, and we are the select few that have decided that we want to move into some type of a spiritual island because the world is so turbulent. We thought about our marriages, our future marriages, and we thought that we want our marriages to be different than what we see in Chutz La'aretz. We want them to be paragons of trust, of respect, of peace, of harmony, of love. We wanted to live in Torah communities because we visited those communities and we saw something special at the Shabbos tables and at the Simchas. We saw holiness, we saw Kedusha, saw children's faces that were shining. So Baruch Hashem, we made the big decision, the gut-wrenching decision, and we have arrived, and here we are in Eretz Yisrael. And yet, I don't want to say anything negative. As we sit here tonight, many of us 10 and 20 and 30 years later, some of those first dreams sit challenged because as reality sets into the life here in Eretz Yisrael and the life of Yiddishkeit B'chlal, it sometimes becomes difficult. I often find myself wondering when I look around, is this the culmination of thousands of years? Is this what Hashem said at Har Sinai? Is this what Kriyas Yam Suf was for? I'm not talking about the challenges of the bureaucracy of Eretz Yisrael. It's true that many of us have failed our driver's license 4 times, even though we've been on the road for 30 years. It's true that it gets so complicated sometimes to go into, but we're strong. We could take that. That's not our problem. We could even take the Mesiras Nefesh of having a difficult time sometimes getting to the end of the month and working things through financially when we know that perhaps if we were in Chutz La'aretz it would be a little bit easier. But that's not our challenge. Our challenge, I think, is holding on to the original dream that we had when we first made the very, very wonderful and big decisions that we first made. We struggle with this. We struggle to find our place in a country that can be complicated. We struggle to find our place in a Yiddishkeit which requires deep searching, polishing sometimes, to see the beauty, to find the beauty that we had originally expected. My message here is a very positive one. I enjoy learning the history and the story of our people. I know that since the first Golus, since Golus Bavel, there have been many waves of Aliyah. There was the return of the people by Ezra and Nehemiah. There was our return again after the Hadrian decrees, there was the Aliyah of the Balei Tosfos, the 12th and 13th century. There were the Mekubalim of Tzfas. There was the Talmidei Hagra, the Talmidei Abal Shem Tov. To name just a few of the movements of Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. And there's us. Each one of these Aliyahs, from Ezra and Nehemiah to Balei Tosfos, have made an indelible, irreversible, beautiful impression on Eretz Yisrael. They've given us so much. There is no such thing as any of those that have come to this country, to Eretz HaKodesh, and have not changed the actual fiber of the country to make it that which it is today and the reason that we came here. It's because of them that many of us have left very comfortable situations and have come to Eretz Yisrael. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are the Balei Tosfos. We are the Talmidei Hagra and we are the Talmidei Habesht. We are the population that returned with Ezra and Nehemiah, and we are the ones that B'ezras Hashem will build the Bayis Shlishi. The Shemi Shmuel makes a remarkable observation. He tells us that Purim, as you know, is always an Adar. If there's two Adars, Purim is an Adar Sheni. The Jewish holiday calendar year starts from Nisan, HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem, and it works its way through until Purim, which is an Adar Sheni. They're very close to each other, Purim and Pesach, but they're on opposite ends of the circle. Says the Shemi Shmuel as follows. He says that Nisan, Pesach time, is a time of remarkable Gilui Hashem. Tremendous miracles. Yitzias Mitzrayim, Kriyas Yamsuf, Man, Anon Yaakov, leading up to Matan Torah. Gilui Shebegilui, HaKadosh Baruch Hu never revealed his face Kivyachol in a way that he revealed it in Chodesh Nisan. But then if you look at the calendar, it starts to calm down. We walk through from Nisan, we go to Iyar, from Iyar to Sivan, we get to Hanukkah where it's dark and it's cold. And we move away from the Gilui, says the Shemi Shmuel, month by month away from the Gilui, until we get to the Chodesh of Adar, where we have Esther Minater Minayin, Anoichi Aster Aster Panai Bayomahu. We have the opposite of Gilui, the Jews in Persia, the Purim story, Haman, the ultimate in Hester Panim. So goes the year. And there's a reason for this. It's actually, he says, the year getting holier and holier and holier as we go along. Because every rashis, every beginning, starts with a Gilui Hashem. Every new project, every new commitment that we make starts with a beautiful Gilui Hashem. It's so clear to us. Rosh Shivcha Layam, Mashallah Rosh Cheskel Ben Buzi. Shivcha Layam had this Gilui, unbelievable Giluyim. But that's not the end, that's the beginning. That's not life, that's a gift from Hashem. That's a gift from Hashem, an image of how it can be. What has to happen now in our world of Malchus Hashem, Isarusa de Lasata, if you will. What has to happen? We have to take that Gilui And we have to now internalize it. We have to make it ours. And the only way to make it ours is by going through Hester after Hester and struggle after struggle and finding the or in the Choshech. When Hashem gave us the light of Nisan, that was his gift to us. When we celebrate the light of Adar, La Yehudim Haisa Oira, V'Simcha, V'Sasim V'Kar, that's our gift to Hashem. Hence, we go from one end of the year to the other end of the year, and they look so nice, it looks like one season of happiness. But it's so much holier, says the Shem Yishmuel, because the happiness comes from such a deep, deep place inside of us. Even the scroll of the Megillah, the Sfarim say, is called the Megillah because it's Megala Nistarim. The word Megillah, the actual Megillah's story comes out as we struggle through it. So it seems that our original dreams, the dreams that we all had when we made those very difficult decisions, those beautiful decisions, they were prophetic. They were beautiful. They were Gilui Hashem. But they weren't necessarily permanent. They can come and they go unless you have made the wise decision of associating with Shapells or Talmidei Chachamim or Makomos HaKadoshim, Kihilos HaKadoshim here in Eretz Yisrael, and together, and I mean together because it's just so beautiful. I see it with my eyes how this yeshiva struggles through everybody's life with them. Nobody is left on their own, Baruch Hashem. And we can come to the place 36 years later where the Shekhinah is with us and the Shekhinah is ours. We have to reveal the Or. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever wonder what you're doing here in Eretz Yisrael, wonder no more. We have to reveal the Or. It's not about getting the people here to give us better customer service or to be a little bit more normal, in the parking lot. That's not what it's all about. What it's all about is taking our dreams of excellence, our dreams for the schools that we sent our children to, our dreams for our Batei Knesios and Batei Midrashios, our dreams for the street, for business, and making those real. That's what we're here. We don't have to lose our dreams to the reality. We have to change the reality. We're the Balei Tosfos. We're the Talmidei Hagra. We're the Talmidei Habesht. They had to make the changes that they had to make, and we have to make the changes that we have to make. That's why Hashem brought us here, and we can't stop. I once read that at the Herzliya conference a few years ago, the Nobel Prize laureate, Professor Robert Aumann, he compared us to a mountain climber that gets caught in a snowstorm, and the night falls, and he's cold, and he's tired, and he can hardly move, and he wants to sleep. But he can't sleep. He's not allowed to sleep. He has to keep moving. If he doesn't keep moving, he'll die. Hashem said to Avram Avinu, Lech lecha, keep moving, no matter what. If we get tired, then our dream will never happen. We have to continue to move. That's the Lech lecha. Let me close with a story that you know. The Gemara tells a story of Nachum Ish Gamzu. Nachum Ish Gamzu was the city that he lived in, but he was called Nachum Ish Gamzu because he always said, as you know, Gamzu Latova. He lived a very difficult life. The Gemara describes him as being a great tzaddik who was so poor. He was an amputee of 2 legs and 2 arms, and he lived on a high bed with safolim around the feet so that the rodents wouldn't climb up. B'hayagar b'bayis ra'ua, and he was living in a house that shook every time it became windy outside. And one time there was a great wind, the Gemara tells us, and his Talmidim came into the Rebbe and they said, Rebbe, we have to pick you up and we have to carry you out because the house is going to fall. And the great tzaddik Nachum Ish Gamzu said to them, my Talmidim, first carry out the food, whatever food there was. Then carry out the little bit of furniture that's here. Carry out my few belongings. Uh-oh. And at the end, after the house is empty, then take me out. And he said the reason for this is because kol zman shani babayis ein habayis nofel. I can be sure of one thing, that if I'm in this house, Hashem will keep the house standing. Kol zman shani babayis ein habayis nofel. I think this has to be our motto. We have to understand, every single one of us, that kol zman shani babayis ein habayis nofel, no matter how difficult it seems, no matter how challenging it looks, we are here to make the contribution that we need to make. Hashem brought us here. We have to think about it every single day. What can I do? And as long as we're thinking that, we can honestly say that kol zman shani babayis, we're in the middle of our work. Ein habayis nofel. We should all be zoche to the Or of Adar. We were zoche to the Or of Nisan. We were all zoche to the Gilui Hashem and the Gilui Panim. It becomes now our job, whether it's 2 years later or 36 years later, to continue to work to be Megala, the true Or, until we can be zoche to the Or Chadash, Al Tzion Toyer, to the real Geula, B'shuv Hashem Ashiva Sion. Thank you very much.